what's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. Sorry, it definitely looks like I was crying, but you saw the title. In today's video, we're going to get into this. All happened last week to me. Kind of the incident that, well, you see the title. As you know, or if you've been following my channel, I basically have been getting really bad acne, and I don't know why. I think some of it could be stress. I was on like a million times of different like birth controls, and I know that messes with your skin. Like even right now, like I don't get cheek acne, I have a cheek one. Like my skin has just been really bad, and I've been trying to go to a dermatologist for a while, and last week was my opportunity. So I'm going to tell you the story time of what happened as a dermatologist and how I obviously didn't get my skin looked at and checked, and it really sucks, but hey, I'm going to tell you my story, and maybe you'll feel confident or bold enough in the future if something similar happens to you to speak up, because it's totally not right. And yeah. And if you guys like my story time videos, please thumbs it up down below so I know to tell more. But basically, I had made an appointment to a dermatologist I've never been to that my insurance took to get my skin looked at and evaluated. And I got there basically on time for my appointment. I believe my appointment was like 3 o'clock on the dot. So I was there a little bit early so I could do paperwork and stuff like that. And when I checked in, I didn't really think of anything. The lady at the front desk was my age. She gave me the paperwork and all that because I was new. I'm realizing now too that she didn't give me my insurance card back, and I have to call my insurance actually and see if they can send me a new one. But they scan your insurance, they'll get your ID obviously when you're a new patient, and then they give you all your paperwork. And as you know, I have a cane, I have a mobile aid that I use, and I always make like TikToks about this, and I tell you guys on my channel too, if you need a mobile aid or you don't have one and you need access to one, you should always use it, because bad things can happen. You can get hurt. It's just gonna be a bad mix. And also, I had mentioned in my video like a month or two ago that there was some bad findings on my MRI. So like, I just want to be in control of my body, and if something bad's happening, because my legs sometimes give out, they go pins and needles, numb, and it's like scary when my hands or my legs give out and I'm dropping something or I drop. So I take it with me at appointments, you know what I mean? Even if it's not a physical body appointment, it's something I use in my everyday life. So I'm just gonna put that out there. So I went to sit down, and I want to note too, the waiting room literally was like, I'm gonna probably draw a picture on my notepad, and I'll probably put it up on the screen right now so you can get a feel for what I'm talking about as I'm sitting here talking. But that's how it looked like. The front desk, the office door to go in, and then my chair, and then two other people. So she was like diagonal from me, so she could clearly see me from where she was sitting at her desk, and she sat on her phone a lot of the time, so she probably wasn't looking at me. But I filled my paperwork out, and I thought it was really funny too, because for Vlogmas, I like put a part of the paperwork and that I thought was funny, how something was like worded or whatever. And even like, I forget, I think another part too, I added it on the vlog too of my paperwork. But anyways, so I filled out like about my skin and stuff. Now, normally, like when I go to a doctor and I'm a new patient, I won't give my paperwork back. Like if they want it, they can ask me for it and they can give it back to the doctor and the nurse to look over. But usually I like to take it in and talk to them about it, or be like, oh, this or that, or blah, 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 to try to like let them know. Like I have medical marijuana. I like to let them know that it's, you know, associated with blah, 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 blah. And this is why I am taking it. So it's written down properly and so forth. Because I've had issues with that in the past with like different things. They're not like documenting things correctly at doctors. So I've always just done it that way. Anyways, I knew my appointment was like late because it was already 3:30, and I'm still sitting there. And there is another couple who were waiting to go back, and then somebody had left. So then they took them, and I was the only one in the waiting room. So obviously there was somebody in the back, and because of COVID, things are different. So there was somebody in the back, somebody in the waiting room, and then somebody who was leaving because that person who was in the waiting room is going back. So that's a lot. But yeah, anyways. So I'm sitting there waiting for my turn to come up, you know. And all of a sudden, like, those people are walking out, leaving. And it's just me alone. Wait, I feel like I got to that part. Yeah, Gabby, you're, like, backtracking. Okay. So they left, and I'm sitting there with my paperwork still. And at this point, it's 10 minutes to 4 o'clock. So I was like, I don't know, they're definitely running behind or something, but I didn't open my mouth. And the receptionist in the front was like, are you done with that? And I said, oh, yeah, I am. So I, was getting up to bring it back to her. And then I had mentioned about, is my appointment going to be soon, do you know? Just because it's already going to be 4 o'clock. And then she basically told me that if I would have took my paperwork up quicker to her, she could have got me back there. When I had made up in my head, as I'm like looking at the people, how they're going back and stuff, what was going on. So I said to her, oh, I thought there was somebody back there, so I don't know how you would have took me already. And then she cuts me off and she was just like, no, like we would have took you more, like sooner if you would have gave it in. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. So I just give it to her and I go and sit back down because like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to argue with you if that's what you think. Okay, whatever. I'm sitting down and I'm going to wait to be called. But I didn't really care how she spoke to me. So I was like, I'm definitely going to, like, probably tell the nurse or whatever. Because, like, I didn't know how many rooms, but I at least knew there was 2 or 3 doctor's rooms that were open back there to see patients. And maybe, like, 2 nurses. So I'm like, I'm going to let a nurse know what went on. Maybe after that confrontation happened, because it was close to 4 o'clock, like, maybe 5 minutes I waited. I, was playing on my phone and stuff for the nurse to come and get me. I could clearly hear the second before the nurse came to get me through the door that she was talking to, the receptionist was talking to the nurse, or whoever's behind the door, but I found out it was the nurse then, that we're going to get to, and she was like, oh, she said she couldn't get up because she has a cane, and I was like, wait, what? And all I heard was cane and, like, cursing and laughing. And I was like, oh, that's really funny. And then in my brain, I'm like, they're talking about you because the lady who just left didn't have a cane and the 2 older people didn't have a cane. And yeah, I'm sitting out there in the waiting room. And then a second later, they opened the doors and the nurse got me and went back. So I was like, I should obviously tell her because at that point I was fuming. I was like, I just think it's like so improper to like make fun of me because I'm young or have a cane, and that's basically what she was like getting at or insinuating because I had a cane, I didn't get up or whatever to give the paperwork in. So I kind of explained to the nurse, I was like, it's really like not that big of a deal over paperwork. And then she stops me and she goes, well, if she would have gave it in. And I was like, wait up, because I knew the receptionist was laughing, but she was telling somebody this and there's 2 people laughing. So I was like, she was the other person because she came and got me then. So I was like, great. So I'm trying to like explain to her, like, it's over a freaking piece of paper that has a little bit of information about me on it. Like, it was just really unnecessary. And then, like I said, the nurse was being like really rude to me and cutting me off, like not letting me speak. So like when I was just talking to her the way I'm talking to you in the same tone, like, it's no big deal. I don't know why this is happening, blah, 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 blah. Like, she basically would just talk over me and just be like, I don't know why you're getting so upset. I don't know why you're... And I'm like, I'm not shouting at you. I'm talking normal. Like, I'm just obviously upset because I can't even believe that this is happening. And at that point, when the nurse was giving me issues too, I was like, I'm done. I don't want to be seen by the doctor. I don't want to go here. Like, I had really bad anxiety. And at that point I was like crying. I just felt really like uncomfortable and the receptionist obviously was like, I'm 26. I look younger. She was obviously like maybe 30, maybe my age, maybe even younger and looked older. I don't know. But she definitely was not liking the fact that I had my cane with me for whatever reason. And I don't know if she read like my condition on my paperwork or what, but I'm hoping they like threw all my stuff out. But I was trying to tell like the nurse I'd like to speak to the doctor before I leave, and she was like, oh, well, that's going to be a charged visit then. And I was like, it's going to be a charged visit for me to tell the doctor that you guys were being shitty towards me? And she goes, yeah. And I was like, okay. Because at that point I was like, I don't care anymore. I'm leaving. Like, don't talk about me like that. Don't speak about me like that. And fly off the handle. She's like, oh, so you just wanted to look at your skin and then leave? You're going to get charged. And I'm like, no, I didn't say anything about that. I said I'm going to talk to her about what just went on, and then I'm going to leave. So she's like, well, you're probably going to get charged. And I was like, oh, okay. At this point, I don't care. I was like, I really don't care. And charge me. Like, charge me. Because in my head, I'm like going to obviously appeal this. This is bullshit. So the doctor comes in, and at that point, like, I was sobbing. I was really upset, and I just told her, like, everything. I was like, that's so unprofessional. I never been to a place where the reception's making fun of a patient having a mobile aid, and because I'm young. It's just gross and pathetic, and, like, there's no other reason for her to do it. Like, maybe she was mad I didn't bring the paperwork up, but then to, like, go after the fact that, and say, like, oh, because she's a fucking cane, that's why I couldn't bring it up, because I have a fucking cane. No. I'm also going to put the part in before the doctor came into the room. I have that, so I'm going to play that for you now. So I went to the dermatologist, and the woman at the front desk was, like, talking bad about me. And now I just want to leave. I feel uncomfortable, and they're making me feel like I have to stay here for the appointment when I clearly said I don't ever want to come here again, and I feel so uncomfortable right now. Like, to just sit there and talk about me and make a big fucking deal out of nothing. So that's awesome. So at that point, I was trying to, like, listen from outside the door. I was, like, shaking because I was, like, you know, the receptionist did this to me, the nurse now, and it was just, like, I was so furious. Obviously, I didn't have to pay for the visit. I called and reported them. Well, I even asked the doctor, and I told the nurse, I was like, I want, like, a supervisor or a manager's name. And they wrote down anybody's name on a card and gave it to me, because I found out when I actually called the place that it's, like, it's, like, a bigger company, that was just, like, a made-up name that was gave to me. So, yeah, it's just, it was, like I said in the beginning, it was one thing if it would have just been the paperwork and, you know what I mean, let's take care of that or whatever. That's, like, one thing, but it's another when I can hear you and I'm sitting right next to the door talking bad about me and, like, cursing and laughing like it's, like, a joke. And I feel like in the times we live in, if that's how you want to talk about patients and treat them, you shouldn't have a job. You don't deserve one. So I figured I would just tell my story, what happened, because I still can't even believe it happened and it's real. It's, like, almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm so tired, guys. But I had my hair and makeup done from today, and I was like, you know what? I should just come on, tell you guys what happened. I've been feeling kind of, like, depressed and shitty lately. Just a lot of stuff going on. The holidays aren't helping. So I am behind on vlogs. I have to work on that tonight, but I'll probably put this up at some point, like, in the middle of the night, unfortunately, but you'll find it when you find it. And yeah, that's about it. That was, like, honestly, I go in, like, spirals of depression, and that started my spiral. That was, like, on the 8th. I've just been since then. So definitely treat people with respect if you have a job that you love. See, I love my glasses with this look right now. But there's, like, a nasty glare and you could see easily that ring light, but whatever. I'm going to go edit a bunch of shit on my phone and share my depop stuff until my finger falls off. I will talk to you guys all in my next video, and I will see you all soon. And comment down below if anything really crazy ever happened to you like this before in, like, a doctor's office setting. Okay, love you, bye. Okay, I'm going to explain what just happened. And I, like, took a video when I was sitting in there when it was, like, going down, like, the second time around when I thought it wouldn't, and I'm literally, like, shaking, like, trying not to cry. Like, my voice is literally, like, so this is so fucking ridiculous. I'm so angry right now. Like, the world is such a sick place, and, like, I'm just so sick of people. So my appointment is for 3 o'clock. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I told the nurse who came in. I said that my appointment is for 3 o'clock and I don't mind waiting. We're in a pandemic, you know, like, and I'm starting to think that the nurse I was telling was a part of this whole fucking thing, and that's what's really pissing me off and why she talked to me the way she did. Okay, wait, I'll just start before that. So I'm waiting. I get papers to fill out, like I said, and I'm sitting there waiting, like, for her to ask me to get them back or whatever, and, like, I'm, like, where the receptionist, I'm lined up, like, she can see me sitting there, like, you know, done with them waiting. Mile, continue on to US. This is happening, like, other people are going, like, in and out, you know, so, like, she's checking people out.
So, like, they weren't ready for me yet, you know what I mean? Like, she was just checking somebody out. They were probably cleaning the room, whatever. And she's like, oh, are you done with those? And I said, yeah, I'm done with them. Here, I'll bring them over. So I just bring them over. And before that, like, our talking to each other was fine. Like, she just seemed, like, fine. And she seemed like she was, like, my age, maybe 30. And I said, you know, it is almost 4, and I know my appointment's for 3. Do you know if, like, they're running behind or if it's going to take longer? And then she goes, well, maybe if you would have brought these papers up sooner, we would have took you. And I said, well, I don't know if that's true because somebody just left, and, like, I know
in a quarter mile, turn.
There's only, like, 2 doctors, and she's, like, cutting me off, just, like, basically saying it's my fault. If I would have brought the papers up, she would have took me sooner.